Hello everyone and welcome to another battle of Naval Action with RunGB. Now, for the first time I'm using the color bright settings because, you guys told me a couple of days ago that, it would be good for me to use it, mostly because, there's a pretty big percentage of the population which is colorblind. So, there it is. Now, this is a very special game in so many ways. Those of you who have watched me in Sidestrafe stream and maybe sometimes even in game or in the forums, you will notice that I complain a lot about being focus fire by everyone, no matter the tactical situation. It doesn't matter whether it makes sense to shoot me or not. Of course, as always, that a YouTuber complains, people goes like, oh, he's salty, can't be that bad, can't be that bad. Well, this battle is going to prove how bad it actually is. Now, of course, it's not that I straight up complain, because those guys who are shooting at me are not shooting at anything else. So, in many ways, the attention that I bring on to me means that other teammates take longer to think. In this case, it's a pretty straightforward instance of that. Now, in this particular battle, we are Victory, Trincomalee, and myself in my surprise against a Constitution, 3 Trincomalees and a surprise. This is a pretty bad matchup because they are 2 more, they are in frigates which are going to stern camp that Victory forever. The Victory himself is his first battle in the Victory, so he's not experienced on it. If those guys come rushing for us, we are dead. And they are coming rushing for us, of course, there's no doubt about that. So we are actually making plans and adjusting for the fact that they are going to come in. We are loading chainshot on our starboard side and we are going to try to slow them down. That is not going to, it's going to work to an extent, but of course you can't stop 6 enemy ships which are coming directly for you just with chainshot. You can slow them down, but eventually they are going to catch up. This is what you want to do when you see a lot of enemies coming directly for your face. Shoot those chainshots and try to slow them down. But again, in this particular situation, 3 ships versus 6, one of them is a victory guaranteed. That's a big advantage in the fact that he has a lot of guns. But still, those are a lot of ships. Now, of course, you might remember the gameplay I put maybe a couple of weeks ago about myself in a Trincomalee in a very similar scenario, but the enemy had 3 frigates, if I remember correctly, and it was a Santissima, not a Victory. And we didn't have as many heavy frigates as those guys, so this is actually kind of the same game from the other side, but in a much worse position. Actually, if these guys play these cards right, they simply can't lose. At least in my experience, this kind of matchup is really uncomfortable for the team with the big ship, because we don't have the means to stop so many frigates. If we had 1 more frigate, things would be more or less okay, but the way it is, from this range you can actually see that these guys are shooting at me, which is actually surprising, but it's boat chasers, maybe they didn't want to turn, who knows. As you can see, we have shot our chain volley, both of us, and now I turn again to, keep doing it on whoever's coming closer, which is going to be this guy. Has 88% sales, no, 76, 78, no, 76. Well, I'm going to murder those sails. But of course the problem is now they are on top of us. We have slowed down 2 of them, but there are 4 more, and even the slowdown guys are going to support here. So this is not looking really good. Also, the Victory is actually turning upwind, which is not the best situation, because if he goes upwind they are going to rake him to no end. So I tell him to get out of the wind, to start going with the wind, not against it. It's pretty important in big ships, especially in first rates, because of course they don't have the maneuverability. Now of course I'm extremely surprised here because they are shooting at me. They are not shooting at a Victory which is giving them the ass. So, well, pretty puzzled, but again, well, who knows, maybe they are taking shots of opportunity, who knows. I maneuver, I turn around, I'm going to try to put a load of double shot on that guy there. I overshot a little bit, so well, time to put some distance between us and to turn around. Of course I'm turning around pretty much, well, secure and safe, because I think these guys are holding fire for the Victory, which is what makes sense. But hey, no they don't. They are firing at me. They have a 110 gun big first rate in front of them. They are shooting the surprise. Is it bad or is not bad? But wait, there's going to be more, don't worry. So yeah, well, the next thing we notice is that this guy is coming to be T-boned by the Victory. Little hint here, guys, don't do that. It's really worthless. Yeah, the Victory might lose the bowsprit, but you're going to lose a lot more. In any case, well, I simply have no room to maneuver here if I want to keep on covering the Victory. And this guy is just coming for me. Well, not exactly for me, but he's coming to my position, and this is a very uncomfortable situation, of course. Mostly because that means that I have bad guys on my rear and on my left side, and that's very uncomfortable, to be honest. So I maneuver out. I need to keep some distance from myself and the Victory, and look at that, this guy has a big first rate on his port side. He has double shot loaded. Who does he shoot? The first rate? No, surprise. Does it make sense to you? Because it doesn't for me, but well, yeah, it's how these guys seem to roll. So, well, I have chainshot loaded, so I fire that. I slow down, swivel around, going to let this guy pass. I'm loading chainshot on the other side because I want to slow him even more. Of course, the goal of this is to let this guy pass and, well, open him for the time I have my port side guns reloaded. So I let him pass, I swivel around, accelerate because I don't want him to shoot at me with his port side guns. I mean, yeah, he has a perfect rate position against that Victory, but so far I have already seen that these guys, they care about the Victory, but they care more about me. So, well, yeah, I really want to stay as far from the arcs of fire of these guys as I can. Because, yeah, one common sense would say that these guys would go for the first rate first, but no. So, well, I take the chance, I put a pretty good breaking shot on that Constitution, and I start turning around. Now, as you can see, well, those guys have a pretty good setup to go for the first rate and to break him repeatedly. One of them is actually behind. But do you think they are shooting at the first rate? Because no, they aren't. They are actually wasting their shots on a surprise when they have the perfect rate chance against a Victory. Now granted, not all of them are doing it, but enough of them are doing so. Look at that big frigate who just shot me. I mean, he's just 30 seconds away from putting a brutal breaking shot on that Victory, and instead he chooses to shoot at me. I don't get it. But well, yeah, okay, that's fine, I guess, because honestly, they are wasting their shots. They should be going for the Victory all the time. Or at least, well, at least scare me away. But no, they are not scaring me away. They are trying to kill me. So, well, whatever. I have a good chance here to put some double shot on the surprise there, so I'm going to take it. There he goes. Now, of course, you could argue that some ships can split apart and go for the frigates. I actually did so in my video against the Stissima Trinidad a couple of weeks ago, but the situation was slightly different. For starters, they had more frigates, and even more so, it was one of us going for the enemy frigates, and as soon as one of them was done, I switched for the big ship. These guys are making the target of their game to kill me, not to kill the victory, which is actually surprising. Also, I don't have, I mean, it's not that I have a problem with this happening, but I won't discuss the enemy surprise doing that. I mean, the surprise is probably the ship that less can damage me, and the victory, I mean. So it makes sense for him to, well, for going for the frigates. But the big Constitution and the Trincomalis just doesn't make any sense. Of course, now it's totally different because I'm on their disengaged side. Now it makes sense for them to shoot at me. So now I'm attacking against the wind. I need to cut across and run towards my first rate because he's under very heavy pressure and I really need to support him. So I am also having some problems with flooding, so I pop a repair, I go into survival and I race towards the rear of the first rate. I really need to defend that guy. Especially now that I'm noticing that every time these guys watch me and see me close to them, they are shooting at me and not at the first rate. Well, the distraction might be useful. Have a good shot here. As you can see, I'm already under fire. And they have a first rate in front of them. So I shoot at the Trincomalee because he's the weakest, has less armor. Maybe I can achieve a thing here. Surprise proves a very strong hit against me. And yeah, I'm essentially maneuvering in a 4v1 here because they are not bothering about the victory that much. So this is a pretty tight spot. But thankfully, well, I have a pretty good raking shot opportunity here. I wait a little bit because I also want some shots to hit on his side. He's pretty weak on the right side, so some shots hitting them there will help quite a little bit. Okay, that's done. Time to turn around. Now this makes a lot more sense. I'm surprised going for the victory rather than trying to kill me. Now I need to come close and put some shots on that Trincomalee. And he again has an almost perfect raking shot chance against the victory. Who does he shoot? Me. I honestly, I don't get it. I don't get it. Makes absolutely no sense. Look at that. I was actually looking back at the victory saying he had the perfect rake, but he chose to go for me. So yeah, right now I'm just taunting them on chat because this is just hilarious. I can't believe what's going on. And what comes next, I think pretty much sums it up. I think. But well, anyway, in the meantime, I'm just turning around. I want to put some shots on that surprise. Again, I need to... There you go. Put that on your video while you sink. I don't get it. I'm just a normal guy playing this game and having fun and trying to teach others how to become better. I guess people will be around always hating for whatever reason. But this makes no sense. Throwing away a game that you have pretty much won from the beginning just because you want to shoot the YouTuber makes no sense whatsoever to me. Yeah, well, some more taunting on the chat because really this makes no sense whatsoever. We are winning a game we should have lost, and it's all because they want to sink me, not because I don't get it. Simply. And of course, what's next? Yeah, let's try to ram the YouTuber. honestly, at this moment, I was just laughing my ass off because this was just unbelievable. They were trying everything to sink me. Meanwhile, a 110 gun ship was ripping them to pieces. Yes, it makes no sense. But hey, well, as long as we win the battle, everything's fine, I guess. But yeah, you can start watching here, guys. If when I actually complain about this and I say that really it gets really bad for me in Naval Action at the moment because everyone focuses me, whether it makes sense or not. You can see whether I'm right or not. This is absolutely hysterical. This makes no sense whatsoever. They are down 2 ships because they were focusing the wrong ship. And it's not that they were focusing a Bellona instead of a Victory. They are focusing a Surprise, the smallest ship in the game. I don't get it. I guess people have the right to have fun whatever way they want, but at some moments it becomes really stupid. So well, here's Mr. I'm going to kill Brown GB. Now, unfortunately, before he was behind the first rate, now he's beside the first rate. You would say that he will regret his decision, but no, he doesn't. No, not at all. You will see it later. Now I go again and giving some advice to the first rate because again he's moving upwind and he doesn't have a bowsprit and he's in a first rate and that's not good. So yeah. Now of course, as you can see, I'm already changing ammunition. I'm changing to ball in my left side. My left side is the one I'm going to sew from now on, because of course my right side is pretty much gone. And if I'm going to sew that side, well, I want the most effective ammunition. And right now is standard ball, because I'm not going to, if I can help it, I'm not going to come close to any enemy at all. So this guy is pretty bad shape. And well, that's sweet prevents. Nice breaking shot there. Of course, I'm going to take forever to finish my reload because I'm in survival mode. In survival mode, your reload and your turning suffers a big hit. You turn much worse and you reload much slower. Now, of course, I want to keep my distance, just in case this guy goes totally nuts and tries to focus fire me again. Now is when, well, he's actually missing all his shots because he has double shot loaded, I guess. Now is when I would expect people going for me, because at this moment the ball is lost for them. The first rate is not sinking at all, it's in pretty good shape. They are losing ships all around the place, and at this stage it's more about the damage you do, and well, if you can sink an enemy, well, the better. Then at this moment it makes sense to go for the smaller ships, but before, I mean, several guys gave away at least 4 rakes on the Victory just to shoot at me. It makes no sense. Now, of course, this is a 4 versus 6 battle. If you think that's bad, what you have seen in this video, and let's face it, it's pretty bad. Well, just think in big battles when there are maybe 15, 16, 20 ships per side, and everyone's shooting at me. It's really sad, but I barely can sail frigates because if I get into a big ship engagement with lots of numbers in both sides, I know I'm going to be focus fired. And if I'm in a ship of the line, a Bellona, a Victory, or a Santissima, well, the very heavy armor, the very heavy planking of those ships really helps fending off most of the aggression. But in a frigate, well, most of the ships are going to deal a lot of damage, so I can't sail frigates in those kind of battles. and it makes my life really miserable at times. I'm laughing out. I was laughing like mad in this game because, well, they essentially throw away the game just in order to sink me. And I was having actually a lot of fun because, well, I know how to behave and how to manage myself when everyone is trying to sink me. So when this happens in small battles, well, I don't have a huge problem with it. The problem is when it's big ship games. So it's really painful because no matter what I do, no matter how I position myself, no matter how smartly I play, tactically speaking, if I try to, well, not be a big target for the enemy, I usually end up being, whether I want it or not. I have had, well, you have seen some of the battles. I have put up a lot of them here. I have had battles when I was in a Constitution and just besides me there were a Bellona and a Santissima. They were shooting at me. It's actually, I mean, it's not fun. It's not fun. And I don't know why they do it. Maybe they, I don't think there's anything special in killing me. Am I a good player? Well, yes. Am I more dangerous in a surprise that and a victory? Oh hell no, I'm not. No way in hell, the victory is much more dangerous than me. So what's the point in targeting me and shooting at me? That's probably the worst part because I tend to be a guy who wants to know why things work the way they do. That's probably why I'm actually pretty good at strategy games, simulators, that kind of game, because they all have a working mechanic which makes sense. There are some rules, and if you understand those rules, then you will become a good player. It's the same in general in real life. It's what I like so much: mechanics, physics, history. I like to know why things are the way they are, and I like to understand why things work the way they work. And I like to understand people as well. I actually try to do so. And by the way, if you want to have a laugh, don't lose the chat because right now it's going to turn into something really, really fun. Yeah, I don't get it, and probably is what disconcerts me the most, and what annoys me the most. If I understood the reasoning behind targeting me, if it made some sense, at least I could, well, take it and say, okay, well, it makes sense in this situation, but it doesn't. Of course, might happen that now and then you stumble upon a hater which is going to pursue you and try to shoot you whatever happens. But like the guy in this battle, the guy right now which is in chat is obviously someone who doesn't like me at all. And haters are going to hate, I'm perfectly fine with that. But really, in a lot of games, at the beginning of the battle, there are a lot of people who say, hey Ram, thanks a lot for your videos, I'm enjoying them a lot, man, do more, do more. And of course I'm going to do more. And yeah, but then during the battle, those are the exactly same guys who are targeting you instead of going for a tactically much more important target. It makes no sense, and it doesn't make sense from the tactical perspective of the battle, but doesn't make sense from their own perspective as well, because they are going to lose the battle if they do that. So I don't understand it, and it probably is what personally makes that the worst. Because again, if I could understand it, it would be a lot less annoying. But as it is, it's pretty annoying. Of course, you have battles as this one where you laugh your ass off. Actually, this was recorded live. This was recorded with real life commentary, but I couldn't use it. I couldn't use it because at the end, at this stage, I was in tears. I was laughing so hard, and I couldn't be understood at all. But in many other games it's actually very annoying because you know you are doing everything right, you know you are tactically sound decisions, positioning yourself in the right spot to not be targeted and to survive. But even then, people insist in going for you when it makes absolutely no sense, and they throw away games just in order to put some shots on me. This is a pretty good instance, of course. Now, those of you who were in Sidestripe stream or in any other place and where I complained about this happening to me, and well, you were of the opinion of, oh, RunGB, he's so salty. Well, now tell me if I have a reason to be salty or not, because this is the fun end of the story. This is when the battle ends well, but in most of the cases I end up sinking. In this game, the enemy team did everything wrong just to sink me, and even they failed at that. But in many other games, I sink quickly because all the enemy team is focusing me whether it makes sense or not. When it makes sense, there's absolutely no problem. But when it doesn't make any sense at all, really is really annoying, because at the end of the day, winning, of course, is great, and attracting any enemy shot that could go for a much more important ship and taking it instead of the big ship taking it is actually really good, because in the end it's going to mean a victory for my team. But at the end of the day, it's both about victories and wins and having personal fun. At that moment, it becomes really unbearable. Thankfully, this game was one of those where things turned for the better. They threw away the game, they lost a game they had won, and I survived. And I had a lot of fun because I laughed a lot. But well, that's what happens now and then. Well, actually happens commonly in Naval Action for me. People just lose their minds to shoot at me, and I don't understand why. Anyway, I hope you had a lot of fun watching this video, and I hope you had a fun time watching the chat as well, because that was hilarious. As always, I hope you had fun watching this. Thank you very much for watching, and see you later.